Yeah.
You want to see them collide. That's not how they do it.
Not bad though, is it?
Hello and welcome to the full FX Unfiltered. Or maybe in this case, hopefully the water is filtered for the sea life at London Aquarium. And I'm delighted to be joined by Blair Hawthorne, who is CEO of Loop FX. Blair, nice to see you. And we meet at quite an auspicious time for Loop FX.
It is indeed, Colin. We are live. It's a massive moment for my team and for our talented partners, the FX Connect team. And it's kind of the celebration of a little bit over 3 years of work. That means getting asset managers signed up, banks signed up, platforms signed up, getting the algorithm and the matching engines working the right way, and doing everything in a regularly performant way. 3 years of work, and we can now share we are live.
And by live, you mean trades are actually being done?
That's right, that's right. Yeah. That means...
Which is a big step. You know, I mean, there's always that thing around, oh yeah, well, we're live and we've done a trade, but actually really what it comes down to is fully operational.
Yeah, we've seen time again, people say, yeah, we're live, and they've done a single trade.
Yeah.
That's absolutely not the case. You know, we do things our own way at Loop, and you know, the instinct a lot of platforms and matching engines have had is that, you know, they want to encourage everyone to immediately put all their flow down. Put your biggest trades, put as many of them down as you can, and that's absolutely not what I want to do. We're authentic in our approach. And for me, the first step of building any credible network is of making sure that everyone's comfortable using it. And that means demonstrating operational success. Yeah. So the first step of building that is every asset manager, every bank, have a go. Let's make sure it works as you expect it to. You know, just because I'm totally confident it works and my team's totally confident and the FX Connect team are totally confident does not mean that our clients are too. You've got to go things slow.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned 3 years in the making as such. I mean, did you have many surprises along the way? Or is it pretty much according to the schedule you would have mapped out all that time ago?
So, starting Loop FX 3 years ago to where you are now, you learn a lot. It's been a hugely exciting journey, right? You know, building a liquidity pool is it's pretty exhilarating. You know, starting a business is an extreme sport, but there are loads of false summits along the way. You know, one moment you think you're there, and then there's something else that comes up, and you slide back down a little bit, and you fix that, and you come up to another summit, and you think you're there, and all of a sudden there's something else. And you know, to be candid, even though we're live, there are more summits to come. You know, this is just the first step of many. So, yes, there are things that come up, but you know, that's part of the journey.
Yeah, I mean, everybody gets surprised by things. I'm surprised I'm sitting in front of the Shark Tank at London Aquarium doing one of these interviews.
But this is what's important, right? Again, we come back to our authenticity, right? We like to do things our own way. So when I was in my old seat at Aberdeen, and you'd hear time and time again people coming in and promising you the world, and you kind of yawn and, you know, move on to the next thing. It was really important to me that I put my name to something, and I put my stamp of what I would want to use, or what I'd want to meet in order to use it. So when it comes to doing, you know, different things like being in a Shark Tank with Colin Lambert, it's because we want to do things our own way.
As many people have had nightmares about such a thing, that's all I can say. I mean, so let's maybe remind viewers of like some of the rules of the game. How do you keep people like that out of Loop FX? Yeah, I mean, how do you make sure that the liquidity pool remains, I guess, fit for purpose for your clients above all else?
Yeah, it's quite straightforward. You listen.
Okay.
So we listened long and hard to all of our asset managers, all of our banks, and all of our platforms. And, you know, by listening to the steer of your clients, they'll let you know very quickly what they are and are not happy with. Which is quite an interesting point, actually, because if you look at the structure of FX, there aren't actually a huge number of credible dark pools.
No.
Arguably, arguably the worst people to design an FX dark pool are actually FX traders, perversely. What we've done instead is, you know, we of course listen to the FX traders, but we listen a lot to those who've operated in dark pools for a long time.
Yeah.
So dark pools are readily established in equity and fixed income markets, and we listen to those guys a lot when building ours. You know, there's no point in me going and redesigning the wheel when there are perfectly good mechanisms in place that help make sure people are comfortable.
So you equities and fixed income and perfect? I'm aware of the concept.
You are aware, very aware. But again, these guys have lots of good ideas, right? You know, minimum match amounts, sensible controls. Limits, sensible controls. No high frequency trading, sensible controls. And we are signatories of the Global FX Code, and we encourage all of our participants to try and do the same. You know, these are good, sensible things that align people with the principles of what we're trying to do. And for me, this all comes back to what's important to me as the founder, is that the center of our business is on, trust and honesty, right?
Yeah.
We want to be totally transparent with how we're doing things. And that means that you got to listen. You sometimes have to have some tough conversations when people ask you to do something you're not comfortable doing. But broadly speaking, we have great alignment across our asset managers and banks as to what acceptable behaviors are.
So, I mean, ultimately, it does come down to the rules of the game. They're established. Do you see yourself, I mean, this listing process, does this involve you probably evolving those rules over time, do you think?
Absolutely, yeah. They're never set in stone.
No.
Regulations change, behaviors change, technology is changing very quickly. But again, it's quite simple. You just keep listening. you know? And it sounds strange perhaps, but it's quite easy to listen and be honest about the problem. If you have two people with diametrically opposing views as to what is acceptable, let's have a call. Let's talk
You have
it
a
through.
market. You need a bit of an offer.
You do. But one of the biggest challenges I have, especially now that we're live, is you get asked to do a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And being, an enthusiastic, passionate guy.
And it sounds cool as well.
It does.
Yeah.
But I want to do everything. You want to do everything. Yes, I want to go look at some stuff in 4 p.m. Yes, of course, there might be some cool things we could do in swaps. But for me, it's let's solve the problem that we started with. It's actually personally very challenging. You're listening to this. People are trusting you with, Blair, I've got this problem. And immediately, clients are close clients to us, right? And some of them are personal friends as well. And you think, I really want to help you with that, but I'm just not doing it yet.
Yeah, and I guess the other challenge with that also is that, the loop mechanism sits within a framework which involves your partners. For instance, you mentioned FX Connect. It has to involve, they have to come along for that ride as well, I assume.
Well, let's just take a moment and talk about what FX Connect have done here, right? If we go back 3 years ago when it was Blair and his talented team with a really cool idea, they were the first, and they will always be the first. They went out of their way to go and support a model, build it, connect it, test it, be patient with us as we corralled all of our partners to get on board too, and here we are now printing live trades. In a world where there's increasing short-termism, and there's a challenge of, it's on the blueprint, or we'll talk about it later. These guys they've done it.
Yeah.
So, it's easy, and there's lots of people out there who like to throw maybe a rock or two at some of the platforms, but let's just take a moment and say that, they've done a tremendous job.
I mean, as someone who's throwing rocks, I get it. I mean, ultimately, I look at it and think, from my perspective, the world is kind of moving your way because, if nothing else, the return of volatility has meant people are really now aware of their market impacts, their information leakage, and execution quality, which I guess are the three things that you would, if you were pitching to me, you would go in there, there'd probably be three of your 4 or 5 key points.
Those are all critical, right? And they've been discussed a lot. But for me, it's a little bit deeper than that, actually. I'm a chess player, and chess for me, again, it's rooted in honesty and transparency.
Whereas I'm a spot trader, so it's all about the execution.
but we're aligned in trying to do things the right way, right? And what chess is all about is just being brutally honest. The best chess players and the most honest players about their position and what's on the other side of the board. When it came to me doing what you were doing, being a spot dealer, I noticed that there were things I wanted to make better. And that was kind of the hubris of the inception of what created Loop. And what I believe that anyone who uses Loop will have 100% of the time is an improvement in their best execution processes.
Yeah.
Whether you find a match or not it's great if you do, but it's not essential. If you don't find a match, you can now turn around and say, I completed a non-discretionary check in a dark pool of liquidity to see if any asset manager or any bank that was available to me was axed on the other side of my trade at that time. It's really powerful. So all those things are important, but I do really like the simple mantra that you're improving your processes 100% of the time just by checking.
Yeah, and I must admit, I do get you don't think about it in terms of the trades that you don't do. I guess is refreshing location, refreshing view. So I guess to close out, the standard question has to be, where to now? Do we go see the tropical fish?
But did you bring your trunks?
Nobody wants to see that. Where next for Loop FX then? I mean, is it about your building numbers and volumes, or is it also about building the business?
Yeah. So the first step is let's make sure we demonstrate true operational success.
Yeah.
So it's great we printed a bunch of trades. We're going to print a bunch more. And that means that we want every asset manager and every bank to share the same trust and confidence that I have in the platform. Once you have that trust and confidence, you can then move on to demonstrating kind of commercial success. You know,
Yeah.
like there are lots of volume going through, there's lots of trades being matched, and essentially is what that you know all those trades that are simply just being checked in Loop are still continuing to add value. You know, you don't have to match. Just checking LoopFX is the right thing to do. But let's aim small and miss small as part of that process. And for me, that is just keep listening to our clients. They're going to tell us if they're unhappy about something, and you know, we listen and respond.
Yeah.
So one step at a time, Colin. There'll be more summits to come, and for the time being, we can just go back out and enjoy the aquarium.
Yeah, go have a swim. Yeah. I wish you luck, and it's been an interesting journey so far. I'm sure it will be going forward, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back probably in a slightly less exotic location next time. We'll speak to you then.
Don't speak too soon though, Colin. There's more to come.
There you go. Promised.